Hello there. So, as part of my New Year's resolutions, I had this idea that I might start a vlog, and I have a YouTube account anyway, and I put some music on before, which isn't very good, and I thought I'd just do some talking, because there's a lot of stuff I think about, but I don't really take the time to put it into words always necessarily. Partly because I don't often encounter people who have the same concepts, so it's like you just you just let stuff stay in your mind when and I could write about it, but then you have to, I guess, spend a lot of time just mapping out the basis of what you're thinking about, the kind of prerequisite knowledge or prerequisite ideas, and I'm lazy, I guess. So okay, so topic number one: laziness. I hope to be less lazy in 2016. Actually, I do have a list of I think I have a list somewhere of my New Year's resolutions. It's pretty broad. I have stuff like start one of my website ideas, start one of my apps. So that's going to be interesting. Also, I want to produce something in London for the theatre. Not necessarily for the theatre, I guess. Something theatrical, but it could be in a jazz bar or something. Because I really love the music, but there's some really underappreciated music, particularly by Adam Gettle. I'd love to do some Light in the Piazza, some myths and hymns. Anyway, this isn't really the topic that I was going to go into, but anyway, there's some great music, and I should do something about that, because there's lots of stuff that just doesn't get heard. I think there's a definite dearth in London of people just willing or able to produce stuff and just say, oh, we're going to do this. I guess there's a slightly larger scarcity of venues than in places like New York, where the stuff gets done a bit more, I think. But anyway, yes, back to my vlog. So what am I going to talk about? Well, in this particular thing, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. Probably not much. Just to lay the groundwork for some concepts I'm interested in talking about. So, by the way, this is the second recording I made. The first one, it didn't have any sound, and I was like, this has happened with a lot of videos. This is part of the reason I've never vlogged before, is because I always never vlog and then think, oh, I'm going to vlog, and then I do a recording, and then I realize the camera was muted or something, and it's what? Yeah. And I'm a programmer. I should be better at this stuff. But there you go. Maybe I have some attention disorder. So let's have a look at my list. Yeah. So one of the big things I have been thinking about in general, especially in the last year and a half or so, is this kind of cluster of things around depression and anxiety. So I think a year and a half ago is about when I went to the doctor and got some SSRIs, which is a class of happy drugs, antidepresssion / anti-anxiety drugs. And at the time, I didn't really. I think I'd known I'd had depression for a while, but I still hadn't quite worked up the courage to do anything about it. And then my doctor said, "Oh, these also help for anxiety." At which point I realised, what's anxiety? I don't think I have that. And then after some reflection, I was like, maybe I do have that. Maybe, and it's really interesting having these terms for stuff, because I think it lets you think of your behaviours as being less a part of sort of a fundamental, unchangeable part of who you are, and more something that you can change and something you can modify and or even completely take out of yourself and remove. So I think that's kind of a really cool part of realizing you have these things, or just having a vocabulary of mental disorders at all, because it gives you a way of changing. Because I think everyone has problems in various degrees, and I think particularly the more I've thought about anxiety over the last year, it seems that there are behaviours that, because everyone has them, we don't call anxiety, but are obviously anxiety. It's the same mechanism, and I really want to read the literature on this more, because I find it really interesting. But yeah, I think there's just so much that can be done in helping people, in small ways and in big ways, support, or just getting people to recognize what's going on in their own mind. I think is really useful, and knowing your set point, knowing what's fucking you up or whatever. That's going to give you the tools to change it, even in whatever way you need to. So that's really cool. And another really cool thing, less on talking about me, but more society in general, which I think seems really cool, is just the fact that it seems like so many more people are talking about depression and things like this. So that's given me a lot of, I guess, encouragement and hope for the future, and it's really really enheartening to see. Because I think actually, so this is going to segue very neatly onto another topic I've been thinking of, which I guess is like violence. So I've just started reading Steven Pinker's Better Angels of Our Nature book. I haven't read very much, like 6 pages. I'm very slow. But the concept is like violence has decreased a lot, and yay. So when I think about anxiety, and I like when I've read about it, I think there seems to be this link of saying, obviously anxiety used to be really useful because the world was so fucked up. Like if you did a misstep, shit would go down. Whereas like that's not what the world is anymore. And anxiety is really interesting when you look at it through the lens of people prevent themselves dedicate a lot of energy to preventing themselves from doing things that actually don't have much negative impact, like embarrassing yourself in public, falling over, I don't know, like anything that makes you lose face, of which there's a lot, like most people don't like to do, like, and put significant effort into not doing. And it seems really weird because obviously we're not in a hostile environment anymore. We're not, you can walk down the street safely if you live in a city, if you're lucky to have like a well protected area. But even if you're not, like, it's relative to even like 50 years ago, or like and it's weird that we think of 50 years ago as a long time, because obviously in the grand scheme of things 50 years ago was still a hell of a lot better than like the 20s, beyond that, which is most of history. So yeah, I think I've slightly lost my train of thought, but the idea is that there's not much to be scared of, and we should all just, I think, be more relaxed, more open, more vulnerable about ourselves, and I guess maybe this video is a step towards doing that, to being like, I can be open about what my deficiencies are, because I guess I'm not as afraid of that, and people are so open about what they achieve. Why shouldn't they be open about what they suck at? So I guess for me that would be having anxiety or whatever, over whatever like subset of situations. Anyway, I think that's like basically I don't know, I've sort of run out of things to talk about. So maybe I'll like check over this recording and see if it's good, and then maybe upload it. But yeah, I think hopefully I'll vlog more in this 2016. I think it's a good way of practicing speaking skills and just like cataloguing your thoughts a bit better. So even if no one watches this, it's I'm glad that I did it. But if anyone is watching this, yeah, I hope these topics have sparked interest in you. If you or maybe you've recognised something in yourself, which would be like fantastic. Yeah, I'm on Twitter and blah blah blah. So hit up a dialogue if you find these things interesting. And yeah, hope you have an awesome 2016. Thank you.